check me out. I'm here at the Rumble studio. This is the Rumble Live studio at TPUSA here in Tampa. We're here for the Student Action Summit, which kicks off. All right. Technically, it's open and there's students walking around. The first speaker, Charlie Kirk, on the main stage in the exhibition hall is at 4, and that's when the place really gets hopping. I've been here since the morning, and I've discussed earlier about the Secret Service issues that I've had. I guess I look a little sketchier than I am, but we're okay now. We got all our clearance. We're good to go. We're having a blast. And we were invited to come here and broadcast at the Rumble Live studio, which is fantastic because Rumble is truly, like I am, a Canadian-American success story. The best, they start in Canada, they come to the United States, they become super hyper conservative, and then they have this massive success. So that's why I have a soft spot in my heart for Rumble. But just to watch how Rumble has evolved over the few years since the last Student Action Summit has been incredible. I was just talking to Rick, who's kind of the mascot and the face of Rumble from the, not from the creator standpoint, but also from the backstage standpoint. So the last time we were in Tampa, we had a similar media row, and Rumble had just really kind of embraced conservatism. In fact, they reached out to me, I want to say it was probably 2021 or 22, and said, we have this platform, and we've been, we're from Canada, but we're really trying to make our way into the United States. And they noticed with COVID, and they noticed with all those other media platforms that conservative voices were getting censored. Conservative voices were getting stifled. We were getting demonetized. We were flat out getting kicked off the platform, and it sucked. So they approached a bunch of us and said, look, we're going to let you do what you want, say what you want. If you have questions about COVID, if you have alternate, potential thought processes about masks or whatever else, come on to Rumble. You're safe here. It's a conservative safe space, if you will. And man, it took off. Because we always talked about the parallel economy. As soon as you have liberals and Democrats and the left trying to stifle conservative voices, guess what? Somebody's going to come up and say, we'll take everybody. We're fine with alternate viewpoints. And that's why Rumble started to succeed. And so we jumped on the platform really early, and we've grown and grown and grown just like Rumble has. And now we're back at SAS. And not only do they have this amazing booth, but they're the sponsor. And their logos everywhere, and they bought it. They had a dinner last night. It was incredible. They had cups. They have these amazing hats. Not this one. This was my hat, but they've got hats everywhere. In fact, toss me one of those hats. Let me show everybody. So the first year was like just like the basic hat, right? Oh, thank you very much. Good catch, Mark. Now, again, this is how you can tell Rumble's become so successful. They started with the basic black hat that everybody gets. Now they've got look at this. It's the wide brim. It's the raised. You can tell how successful a company is by the stitching on their free hat giveaways, this is really, I'm going to steal this actually. I'm taking this one for myself. Also, let me show you this. So you may have seen some creators have these. This is the Rumble. It's very heavy. I didn't know what it was at first, but I was talking about it. So this denotes 100,000 followers on Rumble. This is why you don't see this on my streams. This is why this is the first time I've actually touched with it. I was like, oh, this is that thing. And I used to think it was like foam or whatever. No, this is solid. I don't know if you can, it's metal. It's heavy. It's a good, like if I had 200,000 followers, I could do some curls. I could do some presses with this thing, but this is the goal. If you have a Rumble channel, or if you're a Rumble creator. Now, I believe I'm exactly halfway there. So mine would just say rum, or it might say bull. Actually, it would probably say bull if it were mine. But anyway, we need 50,000 more viewers or subscribers. So if you're watching this stream on Rumble, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that I can get one of those in the mail, hopefully sometime soon. Now, since I just wrapped up my first stream and we had some great interviews with some of the guests here, I thought now that I'm on our second stream of the day, I would bring out a very, very important and exciting and talented guest, someone who I have never interviewed live on my show, but who I've always wanted to. And that is my daughter / producer for the weekend, Annabelle K, who is, come here. She just threw the hat. So, which is pretty good for, you're a lefty, and you threw that pretty well, actually. Hi, look at that. Did you want to try on the hat?
Yes.
Try on the hat. Do some free marketing for Rumble. Look over there. Oh, no, wait, where are we going to? Yeah, we're going to. Right? No, well, the red light is. The red light on the camera is the one that's live, but yes, you're going to be over there in just a minute. Okay. So let's model the hat. Take a look. There you oh, look at that. You've definitely got the influencer pose down. Now, Annabelle is here for a couple reasons. First of all, what did I rope you into doing this weekend?
You took me here to TPUSA, SAS, and I'm helping you produce your show, taking behind the scenes photos, and, also advertising my own podcast.
Yes, that's right. I told her that she could come and she could help me. I told her that she had to help me. And then on top of that, in addition, you could promote your own podcast, because in the K family, I don't just have my own 2 podcasts. We have, a third one, which is called The Lovely Light. Tell everyone, since you're now live on Rumble, about your podcast.
Yes, of course. So the Lovely Light podcast is a Christian podcast. Specifically, it's a 30-day devotional. So basically, me and my friend Catherine made it. And for each episode, we start off with obviously our introduction, and then we read a scripture, usually like 3 to 4 verses, and then we give our commentary on it. So that could be something that we've experienced in high school or something just from our day-to-day lives. And then we end in prayer. So specifically, it's targeted to tween and teen Christian girls.
And who produced your podcast?
The one and only Mark K.
Oh, that was a good. That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was great. We had her friend Catherine came over. They said, we want to do this podcast. I said, that's a great idea. Luckily, I have a lot of equipment in the house, so we set it all up and we got them all microphones and they recorded this thing and it's taken up. Do you have your sticker?
I do. Ready?
Hold up your sticker so we can see
With
it. It's
our
called
logo?
Yeah. It's the Lovely Light podcast. And it's the 2 of them talking about the Bible, which I'm going to be honest with you, that's like every parent's dream is to have. And this is not something we forced upon you. This is something you wanted to do.
No, yes, of course. I mean, I've always wanted to have a show and do social media and all that. That's just always been an interest of mine. But I mean, specifically, I love supporting Christianity, obviously, and I feel really called to do something on social media and on a podcast. So me and my friend Catherine, we've been friends for 13 years, and we grow up in the same church. We've all grown up raised Christians, so this is just something we felt called to do and really wanted to bring to the world, just to spread some Christ to others.
That's fantastic. When you went to school and you met Catherine, what kind of school did you go to?
I went to a Catholic school.
You went to a Catholic school. And do you feel like that was a good decision to not be in a public school where you had to hide your faith, but to be in a Catholic school or a parochial school where you could, where you were encouraged to learn about it?
100%. I mean, growing up in Catholic school is really important because not only you get the education behind it, because I always had religion class every day and you learn about the Bible, obviously, and the sacraments because Catholic, but it's also really good to grow up with other kids that are Catholic or Christian, because in this day and age, sometimes it's hard to come by, and you really need that foundation. You really need that community of believers to help you center it on Christ and help you remember your morals and go out into the world. And I mean, now I'm in a public school, but still those foundational years of my elementary and middle school years have really helped me keep my Christ foundation, keep my Christian foundation. So yeah.
Is your podcast, is it kind of boring and preachy, or is it fun and cool and relaxed?
I would never make a boring podcast, first of all.
So that's the perfect answer.
It's really fun.
Do you know who you're talking to?
I mean, we get into a lot of good discussion. I mean, I told you, me and Catherine, we've been friends for years, so we have a lot of stories that we remember, going on retreats and also just dealing with friendships and all that. So it's definitely a lot of fun, and they're not too long either. They're usually 5 to 10 minutes. So, and they're all out right now. So maybe when you're in your car or you get a break from work, you can definitely listen to it, and you can listen to them all at once, or you can listen to them daily because we have days 1 through 30, just whenever. So
you can do 30 more.
I hope so. I want to do a season 2 with Catherine, but hopefully that's in the works for the future.
Yeah. Now you're going to college. You're going to be a senior, right?
Yes.
And then after that, you want to go to college.
I do.
And what do you want to do in college?
I would love to go to Notre Dame or another top Catholic school, and I'd love to major in biology. Yeah. And then probably from there, either do pre-med or research, whatever. I don't know.
How are your grades?
They're really good. I have all A's.
You have all A's. What parent do you think you got that work ethic and that important scholastic experience from?
Well, work ethic, probably you, and probably also my mother, because you guys are both hardworking.
What about the good grades part?
So,
you don't have to
that one.
You don't have to answer that. All right, where can people download your podcast?
Yeah, so you can download the Lovely Light podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Perfect, on either one of those. And so TPUSA it's really, now you didn't really even know that this was a student action summit when I roped you into it. You just thought, what, Charlie Kirk was going to be here, and Brett Cooper and a couple other people. Yeah. She goes, is Brett Cooper going to be there? I said, probably. But now that you realize it, now that you're here and you see it, what's the biggest surprise about Turning Point USA that you didn't know about coming into this?
I honestly didn't realize how many young people. I mean, I knew it was a student summit, but usually there's like a lot of older generations too. But I like to see the Gen Z getting into the conservative movement, just Gen Z meeting together and just meeting these great role models like Charlie Kirk and like you, and just
Thanks. Charlie Kirk, you,
those Gen Z not only having conservative values but also Christian values, because there's a lot of good Christian brands here as well. So
it is really, and that's really the exciting thing. This organization, and I didn't realize it until I first came here. And in 2022 was my first TPUSA event. And I wasn't a teenager; I was in my 40s back then. But I came here with Hannah, and the two of us were just like, "Who are these kids?" Like, it was nowadays you kind of get it. You've seen Gen Z, we've seen them rise up. We've been around enough conservative Christian young people who have really embraced, not the party lifestyle, not the hardcore drinking and drugs and all that, but really this clean living, this love of country, this desire to help and change America. It's really amazing. But the first time I came in contact with it was at a TPUSA event. And I remember thinking, oh my God, my kids would love this. And it's true. The Christian aspect is not, this is definitely a political organization, but you can't be a conservative political organization without that Christian aspect. And it's everywhere. In fact, the booth next to us, so we're on Media Row, and there's a bunch of podcasters. There's a bunch of people that have, TikTok accounts, whatever. There's some people that you've heard of, some people you never have, radio stations, whatnot. Right next door to us is a booth, and they're just giving away Bibles.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing. It says it's called Make America Gospel Again. And they showed up, and I go, hey, what do you guys do? They're like, we give out Bibles. And I go, oh, do you podcast or do you have, and they're like, no, we just give out Bibles. And I said, so let me get this straight. You're just here to give out Bibles? They said, that's right. And I said, that's really interesting. They go, yeah, they gave us the booth. We brought our Bibles. We're going to give them out all weekend long. And I said, cool. And they looked at me and said, do you want a Bible? And I felt bad. I was like, I actually have one, but give it to somebody else who needs it. But people come, and sure enough, the whole time I've been here, I've been doing my show, and I hear them, and the people walk by, they go, hi, sir, would you like a Bible? Hi, ma'am, would you like a Bible? And people are scooping up these Bibles, but it really is one of those underlying things that you forget about.
100%, yeah. It doesn't have to be like a huge podcast or like a big thing to actually make a impact on people. So like them handing out Bibles, it might be like a small gesture to someone, but just making those efforts to put the word into people, spread the gospel is just really important.
Yeah. One guy prayed for us.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking to him. We were like, because what happens is when you have a booth with a bunch of microphones and a bunch of cameras, everybody comes up and gives you their business card, and they go, hey, if you need to interview me, I'm free. So this guy rolls up, and we're chit-chatting and we're talking. He gave me his card. And then all of a sudden we're wrapping up. I go, well, it was nice to meet you. He goes, can I pray for you? And I go, absolutely, pray for me. So he goes, okay. And he's like bowing. I'm like, oh, right now. Oh, I just thought you meant in general. Like, yeah, let's do it right now. So we all stopped, and I was like, I didn't realize it was like on the spot prayer. Yeah. Like he wasn't. Most people are like, I'll pray for you tonight before I go to bed, or I'll go to church. I'll pray. I'll keep you in my prayers. You hear that a lot. This dude was no nonsense. He's like, can I pray for you? Yeah. Okay, bow. And then we just prayed. But that's the kind of sentiment, you get that a lot here at Turning Point USA. Now, are you going to go to any of the events, or is your boss just making you work the entire time?
I'm hoping that I can get to some events. Definitely like the main speaker is Charlie Kirk. I'm always loved Brett Cooper, so I definitely want to see her speak, but
she's going to have a baby soon.
I know.
Like real soon.
It's exciting though, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't work me too hard, so I'm sure I can get away a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I really don't. I got to come up with like more stuff for you to do. I tried to get you to get me coffee, but the coffee shop wasn't open yet. So we'll figure that out. Well, listen, tell everyone about your podcast one more time.
Okay, yes. So the Lovely Light podcast, it's available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Me and my friend Catherine made it. And if you have anyone in your life, a tween or a teen Christian girl, or anyone really who's interested in just a short daily podcast, be sure to let them know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Go gang some more of those hats.
I will.
All right, at least 2 more. We'll sell those on eBay. Oh, and go make sure that no one's stealing stuff from our booth.
Oh, perfect.
Actually, yes. Steal stuff from the Rumble booth, and then go make sure no one's stealing stuff from our booth. Because I left all my. I think I have like 3 iPhones sitting on the counter. Listen, this is an incredible event for many reasons, because not only do you have this young group of people. I mean, thousands and thousands. The attendance for this event has doubled in the last 3 years that are coming together to talk about politics. But everybody who's in the political realm, especially conservatism, they know that this is a big deal event. Donald Trump came and spoke here 3 years ago. Ron DeSantis came and spoke here 3 years ago. I think it was the last time they may have been in the same room until Alligator Alcatraz opened a couple weeks ago. But it was a raucous event. Now we have just as incredible a lineup. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, he'll be speaking later today. Tom Homan, who the Borders are, who has just become a superstar, is going to be speaking here about all kinds of things, about the importance of the border, about the importance of ICE, about the attacks on ICE. And it's going to be, again, one of those events that just the entire arena is going to be shaking. And you can always tell when a big speaker comes on because people rush. Like there's a bum rush to the hallway, and then, you know, and also Secret Service lunges into action. So this morning when I got here, the dog, which I told the story earlier, but it's worth retelling. Security, you can tell how important the conservative movement has become by the increase in security, not just here, but at any event. When I went to Mar-a-Lago before President Donald Trump got shot in the head in Butler, Pennsylvania, I didn't have to go through the kind of security measures I did before. They actually basically, I rolled down the window of my truck. They gave me my media credentials. They said, do you have any weapons on you? And I was like, hold on, let me think for just a minute. No, I'm pretty sure I don't. No, I don't. And they let me in. Fast forward 6 months after Butler, Pennsylvania, you couldn't get anywhere near the property. You had to get out of your vehicle. There was facial recognition technology. They were searching with munition sniffing dogs. And that's how security is, because conservatives have become so effective. And when the more effective you become, the more of a threat you become to somebody else, the more they threaten your way of life. Same thing here with TPUSA. Last time we were here 3 years ago, all the doors were open. People were coming and going as they please. There wasn't this kind of security, Secret Service protection. You only had Secret Service really when you were going into the main hall to see the president speak. But now, right at the front door, dogs everywhere, guys with the little earpieces. Wherever you turn, you do feel safe and secure, but you definitely feel like this has become a bigger, more important, almost like a third branch of government. You know, like the media, this is kind of what these organizations are like. And it's not just TPUSA, there's tons of them. The media used to be the unofficial fourth branch of government, which was kind of a dumb thing to say, but I guess I think the media coined that term. I think the media wanted to seem more important than they actually are. So they said, we're going to be the unofficial fourth branch of government. We're going to be the media watchdog, and we're going to make sure that we keep the government in check. Well, eventually what happens is if you give yourself that kind of power, you eventually become corrupted yourself, just like most people in the government. And then when you declare that you're this fourth branch of government, one of the two major parties is going to want to take that over so that they have the power. That's exactly what happened with the Democrats. Well, now, thank God, we're flushing them out. And Rumble is a great example of how the media is being taken over with the new alternative media. A TPUSA is another great example of how the media is being taken over by the new alternative media. And I'll tell you, the media rows of old used to be just radio and TV. And if you didn't have CNN or NBC or ABC in your title, if you didn't have the right business card, if you weren't on some kind of major network or working for some major newspaper, you couldn't get a spot on Media Row. You had to be a Rush Limbaugh or a Sean Hannity or somebody like that. But the radio folk are few and far between, and they've been taken over by the new media. And the new media are people like you, people like me, people like Charlie Kirk, people like, you know, my daughter, people like everybody else who has a cell phone and a conservative voice and a backbone and isn't afraid to tell the truth. In fact, it's so funny because I come up here and everybody's an influencer. Everybody comes up to my booth and they go, hey, you have a podcast? And I go, yeah. They go, well, I'm a political influencer. And I look at them and I go, are you really a political influencer, or do you want to be a political? So I have my daughter. I go, what's your name? And my daughter's job is to Google them quickly. And she gives me one of these or gives me one of those, whatever. But really, everybody is a political influencer and everyone has political influence. And by running for Congress, here's something else I've realized. Everybody can influence somebody. And that's why you should, you know, really, yes, we all are political influencers. And when we spoke earlier today with War Rhino, with Sean War Rhino Crutcher, he said something which I think is really important. He said, when I was coming up, when I started in politics, I was looking for anybody to give me a shot. I was looking for anybody to talk to me, anybody to come in and say, hey, we'll put you on, we'll help you out, we'll spread your message. And that's something that, we all need to remember, myself included, is that everybody has a message of positivity, of conservatism, of Christianity here. We should help them spread it. And especially now that I'm running for Congress, I need all the political influence that I can get, because it's going to take a lot of money for sure, but it's also going to take a lot of door knockers. It's going to take a lot of volunteers. It's going to take a lot of people talking to their friends and neighbors. Oh, so this is a funny story. On the way, on the way to Tampa, I had to stop and get batteries for my bullhorn, which was confiscated by the Secret Service. So it turns out I didn't actually need the batteries anyway, but I thought I would. I was like, I'm going to need fresh batteries. I'm going full Laura Loomer. I'm going to drain this bullhorn multiple times. I need some C batteries. Let's roll to the Walgreens. So I roll into the Walgreens back in Jacksonville before we leave town, and I'm wearing my hat, and I walk in and I grab the batteries, and I go up to the countertop, and the guy behind the counter looks up at my hat, and he looks at me and he reads the hat, and he looks at me and he goes, "Is that a joke?" And I go, "Excuse me?" He looks at my hat and he goes, "Is that a joke, or is he really running for Congress?" And that's when I realized that Bill knew who Mark K was, but he did not know that I was Mark K. So I look at him, I go, "Nope, it is not a joke. He is really running." And the guy goes, "Wow, that's great." He goes, "I used to love listening to him on the radio." And I said, "Oh, yeah, you used to listen? Great." And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Do you listen to his podcast?" He said, "No, I don't." I go, "You really should." He goes, "All right." He goes, "Wow, so that's, yeah." And I said, "You should vote for him." He goes, "I totally will." And I said, "Great." And I got my batteries and I left. And I got in the car and I told my daughter, she goes, "You didn't point out, he didn't say, 'By the way, I'm him'?" He goes, "He didn't ask. He just said," he asked me, "Is he running?" And I said, "Yes, he is." I didn't want to get into, we were on a debt. We had to get to Tampa. So we were on kind of a deadline. But look, that's the kind of thing. Wearing a hat, you become a political influencer. Going on Instagram, you become a political influencer. Attending one of these conferences, you become a political influencer. And it's super important. It's also super important, and I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face, because in 2026, there's a 97% chance that we're going to lose the House of Representatives. And everyone's in a great mood now. Everyone's slapping each other on the back. Everyone's excited. Everyone's like, "Thank God Biden's gone." We're all wearing our 47 hats, and we're all excited to make America great again. And Steve Bannon's not in jail. He's over there talking to people and taking photos, which is awesome. So yes, America is great again, but for how long? And the thing that's really concerning, and the thing that I hope becomes a message for not just people here at TPUSA, but for people across the country, conservatives across the country, moving into 2026, is that we need that same enthusiasm. We got to have the MAGA base back. I want you to think back. Okay. I want you to think back to these moments. Let's go back even further, 2001, when the September 11, 2001, when the Twin Towers came crashing down because of the airplanes that were, the attacks on the Pentagon, the attack in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, all those things. There was a song released a couple months after called "Have You Forgotten?" And there was a line in it about, the images on my TV of 9/11 have gone away. The images of the buildings coming crashing down, they've gone away. We should show them every single day. And that is true. We should really show those images every single day. We should be out there every single day letting people know, hey, we dodged a bullet. Literally, Donald Trump dodged a bullet with Kamala Harris. We dodged a bullet with the Democrats having control of the House of Representatives. We dodged a bullet with the Democrats having more seats in the Senate, but they're still firing at us. I mean, they're firing all the time. And we need to make sure that we're still ducking. And we need to make sure that if we get hit, we jump back up. And we need to make sure that the crowds are still there and that the crowds are still coming, because these battles continue. And I would say, just like that song was, we should show the images of 9/11 every single day. We should show Kamala Harris. Brendan Dilley from the Dilley meme team, he was on X the other day and he wrote something similar. Because in the wake of the Epstein files debacle, which it was, Pam Bondi did not handle this well. Donald Trump tried to come to her aid in the cabinet meeting. Okay. I'm not buying the excuse that we got from the DOJ. I'm not buying that these files, which supposedly were on Pam Bondi's desk one day, now all of a sudden never existed. I'm not buying that there was no blackmail. I'm not buying that, oh, we've got what's her name in jail for 40 years, Ghislaine Maxwell, but there's no one else is going to prison. That just doesn't equate with me and with a lot of other people. And Brendan Dilley posted something on X about how, look, a lot of people were turning on the president. A lot of people were jumping ship. A lot of people were forgetting everything else that happened. And he literally said, these people need to remember that if it's not Donald Trump, it would have been Kamala Harris, and how quickly they forget. And I said, I'm going to play her cackle every single day. And I need to start doing that. When I get back on Monday, I'm going to start playing Kamala clips every single day so that you remember the alternative. That Donald Trump's administration is not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. There will be things you don't agree with. There's things I don't agree with. I don't like the whole sending weapons to NATO so they can send them to Ukraine. Again, I'm not the commander in chief, but anything's better than Kamala Harris. And moving forward into 2026, we're going to have to be reminded of that, because we need the MAGA crowds that came to the rallies in 2024. We need the people that rallied around Donald Trump when he got shot in the head. We need do you remember when he worked at the McDonald's drive-thru? Do you remember how many people dressed up as Donald Trump in a McDonald's drive-thru apron for Halloween in support? Do you remember when he showed up with when Joe Biden called us all garbage, and he went out and rented a garbage truck and threw his logo on it and put on the orange safety vest and drove 20 feet to the rally? I mean, that's the enthusiasm that won this election. That's the enthusiasm that got us where we are now. That's the enthusiasm that we need in 2026. And it's going to be so difficult to get that enthusiasm in 2026 because A, Donald Trump's not running for anything. B, it's a midterm election. And C, that the Democrats are going to pour every single dime that they have into the midterm election to try and steal the House of Representatives. They're going to do everything that they possibly can think of to get as many seats as they can, because it's the only place they have power. They don't even have power in the circuit courts anymore, thanks to Donald Trump's Supreme Court that came down and said, hey, you circuit court judges, you can't do what you think you can do. You can't tell the president not to deport people. You can't tell the president not to defund Planned Parenthood. You can't tell the president how to handle foreign policy or domestic policy or immigration or law enforcement. That's not actually your job. That's not in the purview of your constitutional duties. So they lost that, which was the only thing they had going. They're going to fight tooth and nail. As if you think they fight hard to get into ICE installations, if you think they fight hard to break through and bust through ICE security guards, if you think they fight hard to try to get into places where they have no business being, just wait till the midterms. They're going to be pouring money into every blue state. Those 6 seats that the Republicans hold in New York, every single one of them is going to be a battle, tooth and nail, to the death for whoever can get that seat, because one seat changing in Congress could change the entire scope of Donald Trump's second administration. And he's not your typical lame duck president, right? Any other presidency, you take a look at, George W. Bush, if you remember back that long, Barack Hussein Obama. Those are the last two-term presidencies we had. Joe Biden was barely I don't even like calling Joe Biden a one-term president. Joe Biden may have literally been president for a week or a month, as far, maybe a quarter. I'll give him 1 quarter. I'll give him 3 solid months. After that, we don't really know who was in charge. But Joe Biden was a one-termer. Donald Trump before him was one term. Barack Obama, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton. Those are your last 3 two-term presidents. And if you remember, the last year and a half, 2 years, you never heard from him. When Barack Obama was president for his last year and a half, you didn't hear anything about him. It was Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. That's it. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump dominated the news. It was all about their debate performances. It was all about who was going to get the nominations. The Republican primary was jam-packed. Barack Obama was nowhere to be seen. It was Donald Trump and Jeb Bush and Ted Cruz and Rand Paul and all the Chris Christie. They were all there battling it out. Donald Trump rose to the top of the heap, which was a huge monumental story, and it took over the airwaves. Barack Obama shifted. You never heard from him again. Same thing happened with George W. Bush. It was Barack Obama, the first black senator to become a candidate for president, the first black presidential candidate we had, other than, of course, Bill Clinton. And he was the story. John McCain, war hero, battling against Barack Obama. telling his own supporters, no, he's not a Muslim. You're wrong about that. Those were the stories. And George W. Bush, you never heard from the guy again. I don't know where he could have been at his ranch in Texas for all I know. That's not going to happen with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to be on the forefront of the story every single day for the next 3.5 years. He's going to make sure that he's doing press conferences from the White House. He's doing press conferences from the Oval Office. If he's flying somewhere, there will be a gaggle of press on the tarmac, ready to answer questions or take questions from him, ready to try and grill him and try to catch him in some kind of snafu. He is going to milk every single minute he has. But if he doesn't have the House of Representatives, it's going to be difficult. If he doesn't have the House of Representatives on his side, it's going to be tough. And if he doesn't have the House of Representatives, if he doesn't have a majority of representatives that are Republican, it's over. Because the one thing Democrats do better than Republicans is they vote together, always, whether they hate each other or not. I don't know if you know this, but Nancy Pelosi and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, they hate each other. They don't like each other. They are two hens in the hen house, and Nancy Pelosi does not want to be replaced by the younger, fresher-faced New York representative who is slowly replacing her. And AOC wants Nancy Pelosi gone as soon as possible, but there's Nancy Pelosi still rolling into Congress, 80 some odd years old, with her ski poles and her Skechers because, you know, she needs the orthopedic cushioning on her head, on her soles these days. But the two of them, they don't like each other. But when it comes time to vote, doesn't matter what they despise each other on. Doesn't matter that neither one of them wants the other one in Congress. They're both Democrats. And the only thing that Democrats hate more than each other are Republicans. So when it comes time to vote, what do? They all get together like a bunch of stormtroopers, the Star Wars kind, not the Nazi kind, before you call me an anti-Semite. And they vote. They vote every single time the exact same way. When they were voting for Speaker of the House, when Matt Gaetz booted Kevin McCarthy and we had 15 rounds of a Speaker of the House vote, every single time, every one of those Democrats just yelled out Hakeem Jeffries, over and over again, Hakeem Jeffries. Whether they liked him or not, they voted for him because they hate Republicans more. And Republicans, unfortunately, don't hate Democrats as much as they're hated by Democrats. Republicans don't hate Democrats as much as some of them hate each other. Republicans argue in public, which is dumb. The Democrats never do. The Democrats will argue in private, but they will band together in public. So if Donald Trump doesn't have the majority in the House of Representatives in 2026, it's over. Because every vote, every bill he wants to bring to the floor, every move he wants to make, every impeachment article that comes forward, the Democrats will vote in lockstep. There's no Tulsi Gabbards left in Congress. There's no Tulsi Gabbards who are going to stand up and say, this is wrong. You shouldn't be impeaching the president. He hasn't done anything. There's no high crimes and misdemeanors here. I mean, look at Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. We've got Republicans who are more than happy to cross the aisle and work with Democrats, but we don't have Democrats who ever cross the aisle and work with Republicans. I was on a podcast last night, the Black Powder Podcast, with Marcus, Eric, and Tubb. It was a lot of fun. We talked a lot longer than we probably should have, but Marcus brought up a great point. It's not just Democrats in the House of Representatives. And again, I don't know where they learned this. I don't know how they get ingrained. And maybe there's something in the hair dye or the piercings or the weed. But for whatever reason, Democrats all become kind of they're like the Borg. They all work on the same synapse. And it's not just in the Senate and the House, but look at the Supreme Court. You have 3 justices in the Supreme Court who are liberal. You've got Sotomayor, you got Sonia Sotomayor, you've got Ketanji Brown Jackson, and you've got Elena Kagan. And they always vote the same way. Even though Ketanji Brown Jackson really has no idea what she's voting on or what she's saying, they all decide their cases the exact same way. They never break. Republicans can't say the same thing. The conservative justices on the court, Amy Coney Barrett wakes up one day, she's a hyper-conservative Catholic. The next day, you know what? Those crazy ladies on the left, they've got something. I'm going to side with them today. John Roberts, the Chief Justice, some days he puts his hatred for Donald Trump aside and he votes with the conservatives. Other days he's like, you know what? I really don't like Donald Trump, so I'm going to go hang over there with my girls on the left. and it changes the course of American history and our political scope. The Democrats always do it. The Republicans never do. Losing the House of Representatives is a death knell to the Donald Trump agenda after 2027. So here's the goal, everybody. If you're at Turning Point USA, or if you're coming to an event, if you're a Republican, conservative, or whatever, if you're watching me here on Rumble, if you're a Christian, if you just love America, if you're a patriot, if you just don't like liberals, your goal between now and the midterms is to make sure that the Republicans do not lose the midterms. I'm calling it now. The Senate's good. We're solid with the Senate. We may even pick up some seats. And look, John Fetterman's becoming more of a Republican every single day. I give John Fetterman a couple more weeks and he's going to totally be a Republican. But the fact of the matter is, it's the House of Representatives is the battle. And you're starting to see Donald Trump realize that. In fact, Donald Trump today, when he went on his True Social to talk about defunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which thank God. I mean, I don't know, public broadcasting is just state-sponsored media. We talked about that ad nauseum in the last live stream, but you got to get rid. I mean, this is something that has to be done. And if there's any Republican who votes against it, Donald Trump is using the midterms as his leverage. He's now the one big beautiful bill has been passed. Donald Trump is moving on, and he is now leveraging the individual votes that these congressional people are making on his rescissions packages or any other legislation that he has come forward. He's going to threaten them. And he's going to do it for two reasons. Number one, he wants to get his stuff done quickly. And number two, he wants to know who's with him. And if the Republicans can start now and learn how to vote in lockstep and learn how to vote this way, they may have a chance moving forward. But it's a really important time to look at who your congresspeople are and see how they're voting. It wasn't until I interviewed my congressman, John Rutherford, a few years ago after Kevin McCarthy was ousted that I really paid attention to his voting record. I don't think I ever looked at one of his votes until I said to him, I said, why are you not voting for Jim Jordan to be Speaker of the House? Why are you voting for Steve Scalise? Steve Scalise has no shot. He doesn't have a snowball's chance in HE double hockey sticks of becoming Speaker of the House. Also, doesn't nobody want him. He's a lovely man, I'm sure. I know he had some tough times. He got shot at the baseball game. He recovered. Amen. We're so thrilled he's here. But we didn't want him to be the Speaker of the House. We didn't want him to be the single most powerful Republican in the government. We all wanted Jim Jordan. And John Rutherford, our congressman, said, no, I'm sorry, I'm going with Steve Scalise because Matt Gaetz wants Jim Jordan. And I hate Matt Gaetz more than I like the people that I'm representing. I don't care that the people I'm representing in the 5th District want Jim Jordan to be their Speaker of the House. I don't, because I don't like Matt Gaetz. It was a big thing. That's when I said, well, what else? If my congressman in Florida's 5th District is voting for himself and for his own interests and for his own desires, if my congressman is ignoring the needs and wants of his constituents because of what he needs and wants, what else is he voting on? And I went and looked at it, and OMG, I uncovered a gold mine. It was really more like a landmine. It just blew up in my face. And that's when I started to realize there's a lot of people out there who do follow what their representatives do. It's important. It's important that you know who you're sending to Congress, especially in 2026, because A, we need people who can win their races, and B, we need people who, when they win, are going to go there and support conservative values and make sure that Donald Trump's agenda goes through. So that we can, so that this brand new, we don't want to muck it up for this brand new generation. They're spending all this money. They're creating all these great events. They're learning all about conservatism and Christianity, and they're becoming great Americans. They're learning all about patriotism. We got to make sure we have a great country for them. So when they inherit it, they'll have something that they can be proud of. Listen, this is like, I don't know how many followers we got from this, but don't forget, this is the coveted Rumble green thing. I don't even know if there's a name for it. But it comes with 100,000 subscribers. I'm halfway home. And we are on Rumble every single day. If you're new to the stream, if you haven't watched this before, every single day at 1 o'clock, we go live with Mark K. Saves the Republic, and we have commentary, we have guests, we make jokes, we have a blast, and we would love for you to join us. All you have to do is hit subscribe and become a member of our stream. Also, like I said, we are going to be doing all kinds of stuff throughout the weekend. This is day one. We've got all day tomorrow and Sunday live here in Tampa. So listen, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks to my daughter, who hopefully is holding down the fort over there. Go check out her podcast, the Lovely Light Podcast, and stay on Rumble, because I saw the lineup. They're booked with great. Russell Brand is going to be here. A whole bunch of other fantastic people are going to be here in this very same spot. So, like I said, make sure you subscribe and make sure you keep checking back. And every single day, I'll be bringing you the truth. I'll be bringing you the analysis. I'll be letting you know where the threat is, who the threat is, and how we can all fight to stop them so we can save the Republic. I'll see you soon. Thank you, Rumble.